The round tables, they're a lot longer than what you see on TV.
Yeah.
That's 220 minutes. I don't know the math for how many hours that is in minutes. I love being in front of the camera and I mean, if you can't tell, I'm not one of them people who's like a religious nutcase. So I was born into a Roman Catholic family. Life's tough for everyone. Then becoming a butcher, then joining the army, going on to win the Traitors. If I can give people like that an escape from reality, then I'm doing something good.
I am here with the Traitors winner, former aviation technician, and now author, Harry Clark.
I'm building to my introduction.
It's a good resume.
Yeah,
it's a good
it is.
introduction. You're only like, what, 25?
24.
Okay, now I feel really old.
Yeah, 24.
24. The last time you were here, like nearly 2 years ago now, you had just won the Traitors.
I know.
How has life changed since then?
Oh, I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. I think the best way to explain it is I always say it was like winning the lottery that I didn't know I was playing. It was like I had a lottery ticket in a lottery that was just not realising what I was playing. Like I said, why am I saying it again? But it's also like dreaming a dream that's so impossible to dream that you can't even dream it. Like that's the best way to put it. It's like you can't explain it. Like it's been so crazy. And to think I never expected any of this to happen. Yeah. Like I know people can say, "Oh, you're lying," and say, like, honestly, I had never seen series 1 of the Traitors, so I never went in there with the intention of, I wonder if this will happen, or if I'll go to the BAFTAs or the NTA. Like I wonder about this. None of that crossed my mind. It was I'm going in there to be a traitor, to win the money, to hopefully get my foot in the door when trying to buy my first house, and that was it. So then to think 2 years later, here we are. I've done multiple TV shows now. I'm speaking with you guys on the Cosmopolitan, and I'm now authored a book as well. It's just a bit insane.
That's like so much. What has been the highlight of those 2 years? 2 years, year and a half?
I don't. It depends. It depends what route to go down, really. I mean, I've had so many different things. So, like the highlight, of course, the Harry Clark Staying Faithful. I'm dyslexic, so writing a book and reading the book over was a challenge anyway, because I used to struggle with English in school all of the time. And I always say this, like my dyslexia is like my superpower. I always do things backwards. But yeah, so that would be a massive highlight. And again, I always say this, if there was a pinnacle of my life, it was going to Wembley. I went to Wembley to watch Oasis. I watched them live with both of my brothers, my little brother and my older brother. And we are proper, every time we've had a few too many beers, we do the karaoke. A slider will be hung from the tallest light on the ceiling from a shoelace, and we do karaoke with our tops off, and it's always Oasis. So go in there, Wembley, we watched Oasis, but not only did we watch Oasis together, we were in the coolest box ever, and Frank Lampard was there with Christine Lampard. So yeah, I mean, as a Chelsea fan, and absolutely adore Frank Lampard, he had watched the Traitors as well. Being able to watch the Oasis with him just in my vicinity was the coolest thing ever.
What's the karaoke song? What Oasis song are you doing?
Mine would be She's Electric.
Okay.
She's Electric, if you know that one. Yeah. And then obviously the typical one's Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you want to give us a rendition?
No, I'm terrible. Do you know what, though? Anna, my girlfriend, who can sing, says I'm not too bad at doing Frank Sinatra, Fly Me to the Moon.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
And any random events, if you want to find out where me and Paul go to, we'll be at a karaoke box after. So you would have caught us after the BAFTAs in a karaoke box somewhere in London. And that is normally my song.
Oh, damn, I was having a margarita after the BAFTAs, so I didn't get to see you. But
next time you can come to the karaoke. Yeah, the
next
karaoke
time you'll
party.
give me some Traitors tea, maybe. So you've now written a book.
Yeah.
How did that come about when you were like, how did that process happen? How did you find the process? I know you said you're dyslexic.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think this is why one of the reasons I done the book was to give back to everyone that's in my life. And I got super lucky when I won the Traitors. I've seemed to have just fallen into a group of good people. Yeah. I have like such a good team around me. At first I met Gary Neville, who was like, he's going to help me with my management. Like, how insane is that?
Sorry, what a sentence to say.
I met Gary Neville and he was like, I'm going to help you with your management. And I was like...
As in like football?
Yeah, Gary Neville. Yeah. Do you not know this story?
No.
I have so many stories.
I have not done my research, clearly.
No, yeah. So I went on to BBC Breakfast.
Yeah.
And obviously at this time, again, like I said, I didn't know this industry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could go on to do this and that. Yeah. And I didn't really understand it. And this is the point where I've won the Traitors. Like management or agents are getting involved, and I'm like, oh, like, what the hell? I don't know what this means.
Who
You
are
know,
these
like,
people?
yeah, like, who are these people? Do they just want to use me, you know, like as a puppet and then get what they can out of me and then just like kick me to the curb? You know, like it was a bit like, I'm happy with just going back to normal life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, well, this is, the story gets longer. Please bear with me. But
I like a long story.
Like
it's
a long
fine.
story.
It's
Okay,
fine.
cool. Well, I explained this in my book as well, but it wasn't until I got into a taxi to come into London to do an interview that I spoke with the Uber driver.
Yeah.
I remember I walked out of my house, I had my luggage, and he was so excited. He jumped out the back of the car, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? What have I done wrong? You know, like I haven't hit his car. Yeah, like literally, is he going to take my bag and run away? But he was like, oh my gosh, it's you. Put my bag in the back of his car, and we got into the car. Anyway, the whole way through to London, he was explaining to me how like the Traitors was the one thing that brought generations of his family together. He had a teenage son, he had a young adult of his sons, was like similar age to me, and then he had his dad, and they were all living in the same house. And he said it's been so hard to connect, you know, with his youngest, his adult son, as well as his dad, because it's all just different generations.
Yeah.
And he said the Traitors on a Friday was the one thing where all of them came together, sat on the sofa, watched all 3 episodes. They saved it for a Friday, and they'd get a takeaway in. And they said I was their favourite because I was a kid from Slough. You know, he'd just pick me up from my council house in Slough, nothing flashy. My course is still sat outside. I call it my Julie. And he said they got a takeaway in, and that they could resonate with me being on TV. And like it gave his sons, you know, oh, if Harry can do that, I can do that. So after he said that, I was like, cool. And then this is when I get into the management thing. This is when I was like, okay, maybe
This is when Gary comes in.
This is where Gary comes in. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should give this a go just because of people like that. If I can give them an escape for reality, you know, it's 2025. Life's tough for everyone. And I thought if I can give people like that an escape for reality, then I'm doing something good. And that's all I want to do in my life is good and just be nice to people. So I thought maybe I should give this a go. And well, I had 16 agents reach out and I met 16 different ones. I still had 5 more to go. Anyway, this is where I went on to BBC Breakfast. And on the show after me, which I didn't know was Gary Neville, talking about his new cocoa brand. Like he had bought something on Dragon's Den.
Okay.
He had invested in something, but he was on to talk about that. And I went on the show, and as I came back to the green room, he was sat in the green room speaking to my girlfriend, Anna.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've tried playing it cool, so I'm like, oh, this is Gary Neville, you know? Like, let me play this cool, not say this is Gary Neville. Also, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I was a bit like, okay, I can play this cool, because I'm not a Man United fan. So I'm not that much
Thank
of
you
a
for
fan.
explaining that to me, because I actually didn't know.
Yeah. So I'm proper
you.
like, okay, Chelsea, like, he's not legend for me, but he is still cool. He is still cool. Anyway, he was speaking to Anna, and as they came into the green room, there was like, oh, Garrett, it's your time to go. And he said, oh, we just got chatting about the army stuff. And he stood up and he was like, oh, Harry, can I get a photo? And I was like, mate, can I get a photo of you? Like, what are you on about? Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously. And he was like, oh, because his daughters love the Traitors and the girls in his family love the Traitors. And then as I took my phone out to get a selfie with him, he was like, oh, give me your phone. I'll put my number in there because I don't want you to, like, fall into a trap with like the managements and stuff. And I thought, oh yeah, go on, whatever, mate, like it's just cool to have your number. Like he's never actually gonna help me out. Then anyway, he went on BBC Breakfast, explained it, and obviously after that I'd met these agents. I thought, why not shoot my shot, you know what I mean, with Gary Neville. So I'd met my management and I'd sent him through the contracts, and him and his lawyer went through everything for like 2 weeks back and forth with my agent, and they got me the best contract ever. But this is just a little piece to my story of how lucky I've got, and obviously that led me on to then like my management, even my PR team, you know, like Rosie, Alex in my life. Shout out to Rosie. But all these people look after me, and I like owed them so much. And I thought when it came to the book, it was like I can actually give them this back to let them know how thankful I am for them. And my book as a whole is dedicated pretty much to everyone in my life. There's chapters on my mum, my brothers, my sisters, my grandparents, you know, the team of people that's around me. And like, to get back to your original question, how did it come about? It was because of these amazing people. So it came through my manager, just like anything else would. And I thought there's never any chance anyone would want to read, firstly, my book, and there's never any chance of me writing a book because I'm dyslexic. And funny enough, you know, he said, as a 24-year-old, you've done quite a bit with your life. Starting obviously in my life from birth, and then becoming a butcher from the earliest age I could, then joining the army for 6 years, and then obviously going on to win the Traitors and what's happened since. It was quite a big book. Like I had quite a bit to write about. But then obviously it's not only about that, it's like about faith as well, which has been consistent throughout my whole life. And then it's quite a self-help book, which I really like. You know, if there's someone out there struggling, because I've been in them times, hopefully it can help them. So to answer your original question, That was a
That
big
was
answer.
That was a good answer, though. I like the answer. I like the detail.
Hmm.
One thing that we never really saw on the Traitors, but obviously is really important to you, is your faith. What could you sort of like talk a bit about it, and also why you chose why did it not come into the Traitors?
Yeah. Do you know what was funny? Like, well, to answer the why did it not come into Traitors straight away is because no one asked. You know, I think this is the thing with like I'm not one of them people who's like a religious nutcase. As some people would view you as that. You know, if you talk about religion, I never wanted to be seen like that because religion's a big part of my life because it's personal to me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean if you believe, I'm not going to think any better or lesser of you as a person if you don't believe. You know, I'm not one of them people who's like, I love God, man, and like everyone needs to love God. You know, like I'm very much, I'm very much like it's just what it means to me. And like with the Traitors, it's like no one ever asked if I was like religious, and no one ever brought it up. It's like it was never really a topic of conversation.
Yeah.
And also, again, I mean, 2025, it's quite a scary topic.
Yeah.
Because like I said, if you talk about it openly, some people might disagree with you and not believe in the same way, and then they have a different opinion on you, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But it's just how it is in 2025. You know, if they believe in something different, it's like, okay, I don't like this guy anymore because he believes in God and I don't. But that's my thing, is that it doesn't have to be that deep. And of course, I know religion is deep, but it's as deep as you make it. I think, like, especially with my religion, it's such a personal connection. It's like you have a relationship, and like if you have a relationship, that's great, but that's personal to you. And if you don't, it's just like you're single. You know, like I just view it that way. So it was funny because how it came about, and like my religion has been massive through my whole life. So I was born into a Roman Catholic family, and it was easy. Religion was easy being young because my mum took me to church every Sunday. Yeah, it's part of the family thing, you know. All me and my cousins, aunties and uncles, that we were in church for Christmas, every Christmas. My mum took it a step further to take us every Sunday, you know, and it was just sort of, I was that kid. Oh, I hate church, Mum. Why are you taking me to church? Not realising what religion would mean to me as I got older. And then it wasn't until I'd sort of joined, I was a boy in a man's world, I joined the army, and like my faith was really something I could pray, because I knew being away from home, I was sent to North Yorkshire at 16. I had no family anymore, and like you can tell, but me and my family were really tight knit. So praying was something that kept me close to my family, and it was always strong. And the only reason I talk about it now is because someone like you, lovely, asked me questions about it. It was funny because it was like the same with the pilgrimage. When the pilgrimage came around, Alex, my manager, rang me and was like, "Oh, we've just had this come across our desk." And I was like, right. And he was like, "It's called the pilgrimage. Like, are you religious?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, of course I am. I'm big into my religion." And he was like, "I never knew that." I was like, "You never asked." Like, so it's one of them things where it's like, if you asked a question, I would love to talk about it. But also, if you don't ask it, then it's just the same thing. So that's why it never really came up in the show. And the only reason I talk about it now is because people give me the opportunity to talk about it. And it's quite cool as well, because there's been such a surge in youth, like the Gen Z seeing on TikTok and stuff like that. And it's quite cool to be able to show them that hopefully they think I'm cool, but also it doesn't have to be that deep. You know, like even if you don't come from a religious family, if you want to have faith and religion in your life, you can do. And you don't have to think of it as such an outdated way of, I need to go to church, I need to believe in everything the Bible says. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying what gives you comfort, what gives you happiness, you find that within yourself.
I love that. Would you be? Is your next chapter going to be? Are you going to be like a vicar? What
A
is
vicar.
be like? What
Cool. I'm not going to turn a priest. My girlfriend wouldn't be too happy with that.
You can be. You can. What's the ones?
A reverend.
Yeah. What's the ones you can get married and still have your fun?
I think. Well, you can't really do that in my religion.
Oh.
Yeah, the Roman Catholic.
Oh,
if you're a priest, if you're
one woman. I mean, you are.
No, you can't. You can't have one. You can't have
one?
any. No, your relationship is with God.
You've got to be like a monk.
Yeah, your relationship was with God.
Okay, yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
You can't do that to Anna.
You can't do that to Anna. Yeah, she wouldn't be too happy.
Speaking of Anna, you met her in prison. Would you say that's a good place to meet a man or a partner? So I'm single.
Right, so you're looking.
Should I be going to prison?
Why not? It worked for me. Worked for Anna. You know, just be careful with your trainers, because I've still got sticky trainers from that night. It's sticky floors. Yeah, I think these might be the ones I've got on now, actually. My off-whites. Actually, mad fact, these are the shoes I won the Traitors in as well.
Oh my God,
it's quite
lucky
cool.
Trainers.
Yeah, the lucky trainers. Yeah, I know.
And Traitors with, that is...
Yeah.
That is...
What a romantic story. We met in prison. I'd never been to Brighton as well before then.
That's mad.
So random, isn't it?
Because it's not far from, like, where you grew up.
Wow, yeah. I mean, it's at M25. That's the world's biggest car park, so it's a nightmare if you go at the wrong time. But it was only because my cousin was boxing.
Yeah.
And I was boxing for the army 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, we'll go. my friends, it's really random. My friends who don't like change was like, yeah, let's go. You know, like
Yeah.
they're like, you know, new women because we know everyone in our area. Like we can
Yeah.
get to meet some people, and lucky we did because I could drive because I wasn't drinking, so I could drive because I was boxing 2 weeks later.
Nice.
So we just
Wait,
thought we'll go
sorry,
clubbing.
you're just sober night out in prison.
Hmm.
Wow. You're a very brave man.
Yeah, soda water.
Wow.
That's what kept me going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going back to faith. Sorry, I just got sidetracked by prison.
Yeah.
Where do you think people have like misconceptions about faith?
Definitely. I think this is what I was talking about as well with it can be so outdated. You know, I have so many friends that are like gay and they think that they can't be loved by God. They know themselves better than me, and like God, like for me, will love anyone, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
God knows you entirely as a person and knows what you're going to get up to in life, what your preferences will be, what you like to do. You know, God will already know that, so you can be loved. And it's just them, you know, so many of my mates will tell me, oh, you know, I can't be in your faith because of this and this and this. But it's like, why can't you? You know, like who's actually telling you that? Because if you go and search for it yourself, you'll find out the answers that you're looking for. You know, and that's all the gap seems to be with the youth as well of today, is like, I want to find out this and they have questions, but they just don't ask them.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm very much, if you can't tell, is if I've got a question, I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
Like no question is a stupid question for me.
Okay.
But I think maybe that's just what it is. Like that misconception is the people not answering the questions and finding out for themselves what it truly means to them.
Yeah.
And the only time I actually found out why I was so strong in my own faith was because of going on the pilgrimage. So before I went on the pilgrimage, I was Roman Catholic, like I said. But before going on pilgrimage, I was like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, why am I not Muslim? Why am I not Jewish? Why am I not anything else?
Or other like denominations of Christianity.
You know, or like, why am I not the Church of England, for example? And before I went on pilgrimage, it was like, okay, I want to find out about all of these other religions because I don't want to be, you know, that guy who has a conversation with you and I can only tell you from a biased point of view because I've only got my religious point of view from my religion. So I was like, I'm actually going to do research. And then doing that research and asking the questions strengthened my faith, you know, because it was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. Okay, this like, I associate more with this now and it means more sense in my life. So I think that would just be the misconception with religion nowadays, is that people just don't ask the questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, there's like a knowledge gap for everyone. Yeah, for sure. Aside from your faith, you also talk about the tough times you've been through. Why did you decide to sort of open up about that, and how do you look after your mental health now?
Yeah, well, firstly, I'm never scared to talk about anything if you can't tell. So if you ask me,
I gathered that.
Yeah. So literally with the book, it was like everything that's happened to me. I wanted to give people a deeper understanding of who I am, and I also wanted people to be able to relate with me. You know, because like this is what I'm Harry. This is me. This is what happened in my life. If it's happened to you, then this is what saved me. So that's the whole thing with faith as well. That's why I felt it was so important to talk about it. Only to show I'm human and like I've been through some dark times too, and two, to show how I got through it and what helped me. The biggest thing about my book is my faith, of course. And I feel like with my book, like I said, it was a self-help because when I was going through them dark times, especially in the army, when I was like, you know, I feel like a burden to everyone. It's so hard because you understand why people wouldn't speak out. And especially for men, it's like young men will never speak out, and I couldn't. And I had the best opportunity to. I had the most loving mum, the most loving dad. My siblings were all there for me. So I had every opportunity to talk, but I just didn't. And I wish I could tell you why, you know, because then that's the problem of why people won't open up and talk. But you never understand unless you're in that moment. And I think giving people that sort of insight to me and seeing that I was in that moment, but what saved me was my faith. I always say, like, I had my family around me and I understand what it's like to be there, and I couldn't open up. So what saved me was praying and sort of knowing and just putting full faith in that something actually does out there understands me fully. And that's like, okay, now I can take that takes the burden off me of all of this stress and sort of anxiety and sort of feeling like I don't want to be here anymore. That's what saved me. And I explain the story in the book. The way I love to think of it the most is, imagine like a flower pot or like a glass vase. You know, pushing that off the side, it breaks into 1,000 different shards. You know, you would have a different piece of that shard. That's me. Rosie will have a different piece. Anna, my dad, my mum, you all have a piece of that shard, but it's different. It's a different shape. It's a different version of who I am as a person. No one fully understands what I am except from God. And knowing that God is that thing that knows what all of them shards stuck together looks like, then that gives me my sense of calmness. and that's what saved me. So like I explained with the book, firstly to give people a deeper insight to who I am, but also if there's even if it's just one person out there buys my book and it's because they're struggling, if they can take away anything of how I view life now and how I see it so simply, and the mindset and mentality I have now because of what I've been through, if that just helps that one person, then like my job here is done, because then that person can go on and they can take a bit of my story, add it to their own story, and that might save them. And then they go on and they tell people, this is, I was struggling, but this is what helped me, and I did this in this way. And that then creates a beautiful chain effect of where simple old Harry from Slough's helping way more people than he's realised.
So you're not going to be irreverent, but what is next for you? You've done a few different shows, you've done Traitors, you've done SAS, and you've also done The Pilgrimage. Is there anything you, like, I really want to do that, and there's anything you're like, I won't do that?
Yeah, do you know, like, with reality shows, I love it. Like, I love being in front of the camera, and like, I mean, if you can't tell, I love talking as well, and I love connecting with people. I love that whole meeting someone different every day. I would love to go back to SAS. I've said this, because I just wasn't in the right state of mind when I was there, and it was like ages ago as well. And like now I've sorted myself out. I like to believe anyway, so I'd love to do that challenge again.
Okay.
But the only other reality show I'd probably do, one would be Strictly, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't really dance.
But that's the point, though. So you learn to dance.
Yeah, I guess so. But my number one have to be The Jungle. If we're talking about reality shows, I'd love to do The Jungle, just because I seem to give off this macho man thing, but I'm actually scared of everything. I was in the army, so I shouldn't be. I hate being dirty. I have to be clean all the time. I like my stuff nice and pristine. I'm claustrophobic. I hate insects. I hate spider. That's an insect. Yeah. I'm the fussiest eater in the world, so I only eat chicken nuggets and chips.
I did see that, and I was a bit like...
Well, chicken nuggets and rice, because I'm losing weight at the minute, remember?
Right, okay.
So that's all I eat. So imagine me eating like a kangaroo ball or something.
But that's very like, you get rice and beans. It's just, you'll be fine.
I wouldn't even eat the beans.
You wouldn't eat the beans?
That's how fussy I am. No, I don't like beans.
How do you and Anna go on date night? Like, is Anna ordering like a lovely dinner and you're just there like, can I have chicken and chips, please?
Pretty much.
Poor Anna.
It's happened so many times. Even when we do things like, the BAFTAs and things like that, I won't eat any of the meals really, and then I'm happy with a Mackey's on the way home. I know everyone probably does it, but chicken nuggets and chip, it's just, I'm just such a simple mind.
Okay.
And if I have a spag bowl or spaghetti and rice, especially when I was little, I would have the pasta on one side, mince on one side with no sauce, and then I can just choose. Yeah, it's really weird. So imagine me in the jungle. I'm going to be eating kangaroo anus in the jungle, and imagine what that would look like. Yeah. It'd be like. But then other than that, I think I really want to go down the route of doing my own stuff too. Nice. I'd love to present some of my own stuff or do solo docs that are more authentic to me. Yeah. I would love to interview the new Pope. I don't know why.
What would you ask him?
I would just ask it. I think I'd ask him quite a few things. First, I'll ask him if he can drink beer, because I always want to know what they get up to in their spare time. Does he do karaoke out on the strip in the Vatican? You know what I mean? Imagine seeing him. Does he have chicken nuggets and chips? Do they play sports? But then also I'd go down the route of also asking them deep questions that people are too scared to ask. For example, go in there to be a representative of all my gay friends. Yeah. Can they still be loved by God? Are they still accepted by the church? Because they feel like they're not. Yeah. So I'm here to ask him about that, and what's his view on that? Yeah. And I know what he'd probably say, who is he to judge, and that he's just the same human being as us all. Mm-hmm. I guess he just prays the most. He's closest to God.
I thought maybe there's someone more that prays the Pope.
Yeah, but then that's what the sort of stuff I would love to do as well.
That'd be cool. I think we should do a 60 minutes Harry and the Pope.
Yeah, imagine.
Just sit down.
With a pint with the Pope.
Pint with the Pope. You could do a whole series, pint with various religious figures. Okay, I need to ask you about Traitors. Yeah. I asked the Cosmo team the one things they were dying to know, and the number one question was, how long do those round tables last?
They're a lot longer than what you see on TV. Yeah. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. The round tables, you've got to think, if it's fair, Claudia makes it fair for everyone all the time, and the show is fair to everyone. Yeah. So if you, for example, my series, 22 of us, your first round table, even if just people want 10 minutes to say their piece, but all 22 people want that. That's 220 minutes.
I'm glad you did the math.
So, yeah. Well, I don't know the math for how many hours that is in minutes, but it's nearly 3.
Yeah, nearly 3.
Yeah, so it's a long, long time.
Yeah.
But that's why they're so interesting, because the round table can start on someone and then it will end up with someone completely different. Like, just to give an example, ours with Brian.
Yeah.
Like, Brian on our series.
Yeah.
We started the round table and no one even had him in their mind. Like, no one even thought it was him.
Yeah.
But because of the pressure and how long it can go on for, and like someone can just switch it to you, because everyone needs to come under the spotlight, and that's why someone can crumble. And you think the round table will start with someone, but someone completely different can go in the end. That's what makes them so exciting.
It's so good.
Yeah.
What was more intense, SAS or Traitors?
I'd probably say Traitors.
Yeah.
Definitely, because Traitors, I knew that there was like a life-changing amount of money on the line. So like that's why it's completely different. That's why I enjoy watching the celeb version as well.
Yeah.
Because it's so different, because they're playing for charity.
Yeah.
So they do seem a lot more chilled out, but then there's so many more funny moments.
Yes.
Whereas with our series, like I felt like it may have been a little bit more stressful and a little bit harder, because it was like, this is life-changing money.
Yes.
You know, there's 120 grand up for grabs if you make the prize pot up, and it's changed my life, and it helped me help my family.
Yeah.
I took all my family on holiday, and we hadn't been away since 2009.
Wow.
You know, on an airplane.
Yeah.
So like, it was life changing.
Yeah.
So I would say that was definitely more stressful. SAS was just a bad time for me.
Okay.
Like, literally, if you couldn't tell, I was like super overweight. I was 110 kilos.
Yeah.
I only had like a week or 2 notice, and it was right after the Traitors finished.
Oh,
so I was so in limbo, because I didn't know what my life meant at that point.
Yeah.
I still was in army mode, not knowing what my life meant. But then also for the last 6 months of the army, I was sort of lost myself. I explain this all in my book because I'd signed off. Yeah. And you give us 12 months notice. But if you've signed off, the army aren't going to spend any more time and effort on you, because you're going anyway. But then that means you're left with the jobs of cleaning a hangar and stuff like that. And I was an aircraft technician, so I wasn't working on aircrafts anymore. So then it was like, I was just sort of hated my life at that moment in time. Which is why I would love to do it again. And also, don't get me wrong, it was a blessing in disguise. I always say this. Like, SAS was definitely what I needed. It was the rocket up my backside, I like to say. You know, that made me realise, okay, I need a switch. But it didn't come straight away. I really struggled after doing that show, don't get me wrong, because I was like, I've embarrassed myself. I've embarrassed the army. I've embarrassed everyone.
Yeah.
So then that was hard to deal with. But then that's when I was praying for a sign. Yeah. And then funny enough, what comes along was the pilgrimage. Yeah. You know, so it was like, I couldn't have asked for a better sign, because it just came from somewhere that I couldn't understand. And that's why, like, the world works in mysterious ways, and everything happens for a reason. So once I went and did the pilgrimage, I was like, well, this is amazing. Yeah. It was the best thing I've ever done. And then I came back, and then now I'm 84 kilos, still going, got the London Marathon next year.
Oh my God.
And then,
what time are you aiming for?
Do you know what? I did this because I couldn't run 5K Christmas. Okay. I couldn't run 5K at Christmas. Okay. I remember running like 2K, and I remember ringing Anna, like literally crying, like, I've become such a fat mess. And I was like, yeah, because I was just so like, because I'm so like mentally, because I was so mentally, I'm still 80 kilos who boxes for the army, fit enough, but my body couldn't do it. I was so like, wow, I'm never going to get back to what I was. I couldn't run 5K at Christmas. Then in April, I did a half marathon. I did a London Landmarks one, and I hadn't even trained for it. I just turned up. Yeah, I just turned up, and I ran the half marathon because I was just so happy I could run. Right, I was fit enough to run, and I was mentally strong enough to run. I just ran, and I did it in like an hour and 50 something.
Nice, yeah.
But I enjoyed it so much because I didn't care about the watch or my time.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of debating whether I want to go for a time or whether I just want to enjoy the London Marathon, because even that half marathon time was pretty good for not training for the time.
I mean, you had done no training, or you done like a little bit of training?
No, I'd only ever just run like 5K like I do normally. Yeah. So yeah, I might train really, really hard for the London Marathon and then see what time I get. But when I'm there on the day, just enjoy it for what it is. You know, because otherwise I feel like you're looking at your watch too much and not taking in the environment around you.
It's such a nice environment. I've done it, but like I went to the Royal Parks half, and I was like a spectator, and it's just such a nice vibe of everyone there.
Yeah, everyone cheering you on and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna go for 3.5 hours. I could have said that at the start.
Could have cut out that entire
cut out that whole bit.
3.5
Yeah,
hours.
3.5. Yeah.
Are you doing it with Anna?
Well, that's what. Nah,
no.
She can't. She's injured at the minute.
Oh no.
So the London half marks, she actually signed us both up for that.
No.
And then she had to pull out because of her injury. And then I just turned up and ran it anyway by myself.
What is it like being in the Traitors Tower, and how long are you in there for?
Oh, the Traitors Tower?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely loved doing that.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the connection, like I had the connection with Paul.
Oh,
because
you too.
Yeah.
You too.
But do you know when you have like that evil connection? Like not
No.
evil connection.
No, funny enough, I don't want to have it.
No, but we had that evil connection with regards to the game. So it was like we both were the same character.
You both were very devious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we knew what we was doing. We knew we was murdering like the other guys. So like, but we knew it was a game. And we knew like we had that extra role. You know, it's like, I don't know what other game it'd be like. Say you're playing Monopoly and there's two bankers.
Monopoly.
Yeah, but imagine there's two bankers and you're both stealing 500s on the side but not telling anyone else. You know, you have that sort of, we're both so naughty but we're getting away with it.
Yeah.
So it was so exciting doing the turret with him because it's late at night. Everyone else is in bed.
Yeah.
And you're like sort of like, you know, you're like giggly teenagers.
Yeah.
So like that was the best part because we could be there and it's like you can breathe. And it's like, oh, okay, he knows I'm a traitor. It was when we was trying to get rid of other traitors, and they came back. Like the night we tried to get rid of Ash, and she didn't go. And then
Oh my God.
she was in the turret. I'll tell you what, that night was a bit like tense because
Yeah.
we was like looking at each other like, oh, me and Paul were looking at each other like, are you going to talk first or am I? And somehow we managed to keep her sweet and say like, that's all part of the game, you know. But that was when it was tense, when like someone knew that they was going to get backstabbed, and also like. Don't get me wrong, it was also tense because I never trusted Paul. As far as
I mean, you shouldn't have done.
I mean, I don't think he could trust me either.
No, but Paul was more like, I feel like as an audience, we were like, we trust Harry a bit more.
Yeah, no, he always says
Paul,
that.
we were just like, nah, no one trusts
And that's what we always say, like when we go to things together and people realise it's me and Paul and they'll come up to us and they'll say, oh, Harry, we loved you on the Traitors, you was amazing. And they go to Paul, oh, you was a knob on that show, wasn't you? And he just looks at him and goes, he was worse than me. Like, he backstabbed everyone.
Yeah, but you got away with it, I think, because you've got like that cheeky chappy, whereas Paul was just straight up evil.
Yeah. But then also they did a set. Yeah, I love Paul as well. He's great. He's also really smart because he was like, I wanted to be remembered by it. He wanted to play that villain and he played it well.
Oh, he
played it
smashed
well.
it. He smashed. Do you think that's how Kat and Alan are going to, is that how they're going to be feeling with Jonathan now? That like when you guys have
yeah. Jonathan has taken on the Paul role. I think it comes to
I feel like Jonathan's got Ash's role now.
Oh, you reckon?
Because now Kat and Alan are like trying to be devious.
Yeah, but Jonathan's really enjoying it though. Like he's playing around, whereas Kat and Alan feel a little bit bad for murdering people. I'm like, do you see when we murdered our first person? Paul said it tasted a bit like dark chocolate. You know, like so that should be something you're celebrating. Whereas they're all like, oh, we feel bad. Yeah, feel bad. You shouldn't feel bad. You're a traitor, and that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And like they said, if it was the other way around, they would always do it, and that's what we always told ourselves too. If it was the other way around, everyone would do this to us, no doubt. So
that is true. That it is the game. You didn't get to do any cutaway scenes because you were.
I was too ugly for the shower scenes.
Well, I was going to say, what do you think yours would have been?
I don't know. Like, I don't really have a weird. I'm not saying that's weird where I shower before bed, but I don't have like a weird thing of reading books. Funny enough, quite ironic. I don't really do much before bed, but they probably would have had me brushing my teeth or something. I guess
like some army
push-ups. Nah, they wouldn't have wanted. You would not have wanted to see me with my top off at that moment in time. Trust me, it would have dropped viewers if they had me doing push-ups with my top off like Freddie. It would have dropped viewers and everyone would be like, "Oh, we're not watching that anymore." Trust me. But no, they probably would have had me. Yeah, maybe doing sit-ups or something with my top on though.
Okay.
With my top on. Or making my bed. That's a good one. Making my bed with hospital, hospital corners. Yeah. Like army, that would have been quite a cool one.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Are you sad you didn't get to do that?
No, because I was murdering people instead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, before we let you go, Celebrity Traitors, who are your predictions for the final 4 or 3?
Final 4?
Or 3. Who do we think?
I think the Traitors are going to win, and I'm always team Traitors anyway.
Yeah.
I think just because at the minute the Faithfuls are really struggling. Mm-hmm. They haven't caught any traitors yet. So I don't really see them catching any traitors unless they're backstabbed. Like Jonathan Ross is backstabbed by the other two.
I think he's going to get backstabbed.
You think he's going to get backstabbed? See, I said this about episode 4. If I was Alan Carr, I wish I was in there, because if I was in his shoes, I would have just gone for the win straight away.
Really?
And I would have just set it up in a way that I'd recruited Mask, Cat Burn, Shield, then recruited someone. I would have recruited someone like Kate, because she's already got heat on her. As soon as you recruit, you need to make sure the person you recruit has heat on them, because otherwise they'll come in and get rid of you.
Okay.
They'll get rid of you, and then they've already solidified themselves. They did it in series 3. Charlotte came in, got rid of the other traitors. But because she was already seen as a faithful, she's got the perfect run to the final. So yeah, I would say the traitors are going to win, but I think Jonathan Ross is going to go.
Yep.
I've always said Alan Carr is my number 1.
Yep.
Because I love him, and I've said I think he'll be so bad he's good.
Yeah.
I think you could ask Alan Carr, "Are you a traitor?" and he'd go, "Yeah, babe, I'll murder you tonight." And then you'd get murdered that night, and no one would still think it's him. They'll just think he's joking around and just being Alan Carr. So I think that's like what I mean by when I said so bad he's good. So I would say him, but I reckon he might backstab the other 2 and then recruit.
Yeah, I feel like Kat's got it in the bag.
You reckon?
She's so like...
Yeah, but then this is all it takes is just one person to go, maybe it's someone who's really quiet.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's... And also, they've all had suspicion on them already.
Yeah, that is the worrying thing. Well...
And then if it's faithfuls, if the faithfuls do win, I'll have to say Nick. He seems like he'll get far. Nick seems he's really good at the missions as well.
Yeah.
Nick or Joe Marler. Joe Marler's one of my favourites as well. If the traitors win, I'm just going to say Alan Carr, and then if it's the faithfuls, I'm going to go Joe as the faithful winners.
Nice. I think that's a great note to end on. Yeah. Thank you so much, Harry.
No worries.
And when is your book out?
My book's out.
Your book out?
Yeah, my book was out on so my book was out on the 30th of October, right? No, 30th of September. What month are we in?
October.
Yeah, cool. My book was out. Harry Clark Staying Faithful is out now wherever you buy your books, Amazon or whatever it may be. It came out on the 30th of September. I hope you enjoy it. It's available on audio as well. So for my dyslexic viewers out there who can't read, just like me, I did do an audio version where you can hear the emotion in my voice too. So yeah, go and grab a copy.